ball in.
Staverde's Miami Hurricane jersey. Right now, the Razorbacks and the Sooners are ready to kick it off in the 1987 Orange Bowl. Oklahoma wearing the maroon jerseys. These two schools have the same colors. And back deep is the fastest Razorback. Down he centers for Arkansas. Flyer. Todd Thompson is ready to kick the ball off now for Oklahoma. These teams, this is only the third meeting since 1926. Short kickoff. Centers will have a problem, though. He's got to let it bounce, and he's in deep heat now. Fields it back at the 6. And the Sooners come calling, and they get him down at the 11-yard line. So a short kickoff turns out to work in favor of the Sooners. As right now, Greg Thomas, a very good quarterback, brings out the offensive unit for Arkansas. They run the flex bone, they call it, very similar to the wishbone. His running backs will be Joe Johnson. And the fullback is Derek Thomas. Sammy Van Dyke. Also in the backfield, Johnson, one of the fastest backs. Van Dyke averaging 4.4 a carry. Shebest, a great receiver. He'll get the ball maybe a lot tonight. Another good receiver who's only caught 7 balls is Theo Young, the tight end. Right now, the Hawks start with 2 tight ends. They're going to run the ball at Oklahoma. Handoff goes to Joe Johnson, and he doesn't get much, but usually you don't against Oklahoma, Trump, a team that gives up 1.6 yards to the rush on the average. The offensive lineman, Big David Smart from Bryant, Arkansas. Limbo Parks from Kansas City. Brian White's the center. He's from Fort Smith, Arkansas. And there is the biggest hog of all, Freddie Childress, and their best offensive lineman. Last time they hit him at the Ice House, he was 350. Chris Beckett, the right tackle. Junior already in law school. He's already graduated as an undergrad. After a 2-yard gain on the first carry, Greg Thomas is ready to throw. He swings it out. Coming out of the backfield is the fullback, Derek Thomas, and he is out across the 20 to about the 22-yard line, and very close to a Razorback first down.
On the guy replacing Brian Bosworth in the Oklahoma defense, Dante Jones, number 50. He makes the tackle. Now, he's a part-time starter. He shares with Paul Miliazzo, and Bosworth, of course, would play that spot, the other spot, all the time. So now the starting middle linebackers are Jones and Miliazzo as the officials measure. Now, the initial comment you got to make when you look at these two football teams, how similar their uniforms are. I think Arkansas's got to throw the ball tonight, and a lot of times quarterbacks, when it goes to the alternate receiver, the secondary receiver, they look for helmets. The colors are the same. The only difference is there's a Razorback for Arkansas and an OU for Oklahoma.
Just saw the defensive front of the Oklahoma Sooners. Richard Reed, Dante Williams, and Steve Bryant across the front. Outside linebackers are Darrell Reed and Troy Johnson. And now the Sooners put on the rush on Greg Thomas and throw him down back at the 16-yard line. On a first down play, a substantial loss. Paul Miliazzo, senior linebacker from Kansas City, a key player in the defense. Dante Jones, a junior from Dallas, good player, but he's not Bosworth, and that's who he's starting for tonight. Sonny Brown has been a standout player. Starts at one corner. Ricky Dixon, a very good free safety. David Vickers made All-American at safety this year for the Sooners. And Derek White starts at the right corner. So now Thomas looks to throw again, eludes the rush, and takes it straight ahead. Ball down the field, and let's see who gets it. Sooners think they do. Looks like Thomas might have gotten it back at the 21-yard line and bring up 3rd and long if he did. Ryan hit him and broke the play up.
Interesting thing about this Arkansas offense, even though they get 82% of their yardage running, Greg Thomas, a very efficient quarterback, over 60% complete, and has only thrown 1 interception on the season. Arkansas just 2 interceptions as a team. Ball bounces right for Arkansas that time, right back into Greg Thomas's hands.
So now for Arkansas, the Razorbacks coming in with a 9-2 record. Thomas to throw again. Sooners #1 in the nation against the pass, and a drop ball. They were going to his fullback, Derek Thomas. It's incomplete. And Arkansas now has to punt the ball to Oklahoma, and the Sooners could get very good field position as number 80, Troy Johnson, made the play, putting the heat on.
That's one thing that Arkansas is going to have to face all night long. This is an excellent defense both against the run and the pass. That average
misleading. He kicks it far, but he kicks it low. An awful lot of them come back at the Razorbacks. Ball ball is hit downfield. Patrick Collins is down there, and he's going to take the ball at the 35-yard line for Oklahoma. And Collins is out to the 44-yard line, and here comes what might be the greatest rushing offense in college football history. The Oklahoma Sooners averaging over 6.2 yards a rush. We'll be back sideline. Brian Bosworth looking on as the Sooners get set to go first down and 10. Jamel Holloway hands up, breaking into open field for the moment is Tillman, and good defense by Arkansas knocks him down after a short carry. Jamel Holloway, the sophomore from Carson, California, the man who makes the wishbone go at Oklahoma. Earl Johnson's had a spectacular year at fullback after coming off an injury, averaging 7.5 yards a carry. Tillman, a senior starter, only senior in the backfield. He averages 6.5 a carry, and Patrick Collins averages an even 6 yards per pop. Wishbone handoff goes to the fullback, Earl Johnson. Tony Cherico, standout nose tackle, even though he's undersized, made the stop for Arkansas. Derek Shepard, wide receiver for the Sooners. He's a senior, doesn't get the ball often. Keith Jackson, the best tight end in America, according to the All-America polls. The linemen are huge. John Phillips at 275 from Tulsa. This guy's a sophomore. Hudson, he's already an All-American. Travis Simpson is a senior. Anthony Phillips, brother of John, the right guard, and the right tackle is Greg Johnson. Pitch back goes, and running with the ball is Collins. They miss him in the backfield, and on third down and 6, Patrick Collins gets the ball across the field to about the 49-yard line. So the Sooners don't get there on 3 running tries. Ricky Williams was also on the play for Arkansas, and the Sooners are stopped on their first try.
Excellent job of getting to the corner all night long. You'll hear about Steve Atwater, number 27. You see him filling. He's the guy assigned to that pitch man. He's there to assist on the tackle.
So Todd Thompson is in now to punt the ball for Oklahoma. Hits it very well into the wind. At the open end of the Orange Bowl, it is through the end zone and out. And the Razorbacks will go a second time in this scoreless Orange Bowl with 10-11 to play in the first quarter. Sammy Van Dyke with a problem as Oklahoma, with the #1 defense in America, #1 against the rush, #1 against the pass, #1 overall, makes the knockdown. Steve Bryan, one of the Bryan brothers who've stood out over the years at Oklahoma, made the play. Oklahoma outscores its opposition. It has this season, compiling the 10-1 record on the average of 42-7. Sooners actually average over 42 points a game and allow less than 7, 6.6. They're #1 in defense against scoring also. Derek Thomas in the game at fullback. That's the flex ball with the other halfbacks off his wingbacks, really. Thomas putting up again. A good passer. He gets it out, and a drop ball by Joe Johnson on a 2nd down and 11 play. Greg Thomas is 62% passer for the Razorbacks.
Not for the Razorbacks, too. They can't miss opportunities like that. Joe Johnson open in the flat. Ball hit him right between the numbers. Playing a football team of the caliber of the Oklahoma Sooners, the early stages of the football game, you've got to impress your opponent. And that means you've got to make those catches. There's Ken Hatfield, the coach. Done an extraordinary job with Arkansas over the last 3 years.
That has the best record in the Southwest Conference, does the Hatfield coached Arkansas team over that 3-year period. Here's a throw downfield. Ball is caught by Shibest. Best receiver in Arkansas history, and he's out across the 45-yard line as the Razorbacks get downfield for 27 yards and a first down.
Interesting story about Shibest. Look at that average per catch. A couple of years ago, he had a sensational season. This week, he's been sleeping with a football. He wants a career performance tonight against the Oklahoma Sooners. Very fast, very quick, will catch the ball in the crowd. And once again, you saw Greg Thomas throw that ball right on the money. Very unusual for a wishbone or a flexbone quarterback.
Slept with a football.
Slept with a football.
And just caught one for 27. First down. To the run they go. Van Dyke again has a problem. As coming up to fill was Steve Bryan, a 255-pound senior from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
Well, it appears that Arkansas is trying to get to that spot that would normally be filled by Brian Bosworth, but they haven't gotten by the defensive line yet on the run.
Arkansas, as they were 9 years ago when they pulled off the all-time Orange Bowl upset, is a prohibitive underdog in this game. Sooners favored by 3 touchdowns. They were favored by that 9 years ago when Arkansas won 31-6 and denied Oklahoma national championship. Thomas keeps it. He's the leading rusher for Arkansas, and on the 2nd and 10 play, he crosses midfield to the 47-yard line of the Sooners. Donnie Williams, the freshman nose guard, made the stop for Oklahoma.
Very mature quarterback when he came to Arkansas. Couldn't do much. Had good foot speed. Couldn't throw the ball very well. But each year he's played with Arkansas, has gotten progressively more accurate as a passer. And with this flex bone or wishbone offense that Hatfield has employed, he seems a natural at that spot.
Looks like Trump, Arkansas is going to have to keep throwing to a degree. Shebest is back in. Thomas now he's going to keep it himself, and he puts his head down and gets the first down for Arkansas. Arkansas with only 7 yards rushing in the game on 6 carries, but Greg Thomas, this junior quarterback, makes a big play, and he gets another first down.
One thing about this Arkansas offensive line, it matches up size-wise with the Oklahoma defensive line. And Dante Jones filling that spot vacated by 44 Bosworth there to make the tackle. And they just did an excellent job of disguising that little quarterback draw.
So Oklahoma feeling some pressure early in this scoreless game as Arkansas has the only drive so far in its 2nd possession. Area is down close to the 41-yard line. They gave it to the fullback, Derek Thomas, and they say, Trump, the key to stopping the wishbone or the flex bone is you've got to take away the fullback. If you don't, he'll keep getting it.
Get to that exchange point. The difference you'll see between the way Arkansas runs the wishbone and Oklahoma runs the wishbone, Arkansas runs between the tackles. Oklahoma, with outstanding foot speed, tries to get to the corner. They have big splits between the guard and the tackle. Arkansas's offensive line does. That's where they run it.
So Coach Switzer, this game means a lot to him. He's from Arkansas, played at Arkansas, and has still not gotten over the upset loss in '78. Van Dyke carries on a 2nd down and 7 play. He's inside the 40-yard line, down to about the 38.
Arkansas at the outset done an excellent job of just some possession time on offense. Just keeping that high-powered Oklahoma offense over there on the sideline, just wondering when they're going to get the ball back.
Right guard lining up there for Arkansas and White. Freddie Childress, about 350 pounds, and he's a 2nd-team All-American as a sophomore. They've been going behind him. 3rd down throw by Thomas. Dumping it off with the ball, Van Dyke, and the Sooners get him short. Down at the 35-yard line, it'll bring up 4th and 2.
Now we're going to see exactly what Kent Hatfield's going to do. There's no pressure whatsoever on Arkansas tonight against Oklahoma. The wind is at the Arkansas's back. But do you go for it on 4th down? They send in their kicker, Kendall Traynor. They're going to go for the field goal, it appears.
He can unload. He's got 2 from over 50 yards this season, Kendall Traynor. The hold will be at the almost to the 50, making a 53-yard field goal. The hold close to the 43. Measured from the nearest yard marker to the upright, so it's a 52-yarder. On the way, it's not going to get there. Razorbacks have the first try at points in the game, and with 4:56, doesn't take these guys long to play a game. There's still no score on the board. Oklahoma goes back on offense, and we
saw Winklong and Brian Bosworth. Buzz, we've got the opinions of the coaches and the NCAA and everyone else. Now your opinion about the drug testing.
Well, you know, it seems like every day I find new stuff out about this drug testing, and it's really shocking. It's like the NCAA doesn't have any idea what they're doing. They're going in a dark room with a shotgun, and they're just blowing people away. Unfortunately, I got picked off early.
Right now, Oklahoma goes on offense. First back is Lydell Carr, the junior fullback who was knocked down by David Shell. Will go back down to Paul McGuire.
Let me ask you this. Did they test everyone?
No, they didn't. And I found out tonight that, you know, from what I understood, they're supposed to test every postseason bowl team. And they only tested 10 postseason bowl teams. So I think they're looking for a Merry Christmas, and they got one this year.
Back up to you, Don.
And 2nd down and 5 comes up now for the Sooners. There's no score. Sooners went out 3 downs. 3 downs and out their first possession. And up again, straight up the middle to Lydell Carr. A 6'2", 225-pound fullback. And we'll watch a quick nose guard here, Trump. Tony Jericho.
Well, this guy you got to admire. He weighs about 240 pounds. Has not lifted weights all season because he has a bad shoulder. Will undergo shoulder surgery 2 days after this game. He doesn't practice because it hurts his shoulder too much. But he's one of the most inspirational players I think I've ever seen. He doesn't belong out there, and yet he's in there every play.
Teammate Shibas rooms with a football. It's a whole lot better than the boa constrictor that Jericho has in his room. Pitch back. Spencer Tillman tries to turn upfield, and again, Arkansas, with its great quickness, beats the blocks and makes the hit short of the first down.
Again, it's Steve Atwater. Steve Atwater, 27. Now, he's the safety that's assigned to the pitchman. Holloway does a great job at getting this off. An outstanding job. Otis Lloyd almost makes the play. Well, watch Atwater come. He doesn't buy the fakes. There to assist on the tackle. Great job so far by the Razorbacks defense.
So far, the overpowering Oklahoma running game has been shut down. A punt unloaded downfield by Thompson. Back is Shibas. He runs it back now to the 16-yard line. 51-yard punt and 11-yard return. Scott Garl came down to make the tackle for Oklahoma. And Arkansas goes on offense for a third time and with almost a quarter of play, still no score at this 1987 Orange Bowl. And one thing, Trump, has been established early. It doesn't look like Arkansas is going to get blown out.
No, they're not intimidated at all by Oklahoma. So the butterflies are gone for both football teams. And now Arkansas has been a couple of drives offensively and defensively. They can go to the sideline and say, you know, these guys aren't machines. These guys are human beings. We're doing all right.
So far, the Sooners don't have a first down. Greg Thomas in trouble back at the 17-yard line as a wave of the crimson and white. Oklahoma Sooner defense comes over to sweep them under. Troy Johnson, who's making a lot of plays at an outside linebacker position, just made another one as Ken Hatfield, All-American defensive back and kick returner for Arkansas some years back. Counsels his quarterback on the sideline.
Sounded like he called a pass there. We have unofficially Dante Jones, a linebacker, with 4 unassisted tackles to this point. Watch the tight end here. Watch the tight end here. Theo Young.
He can catch
87.
Don't go to him often. Play fake. Thomas keeps it himself, working hard on a 2nd and 10 play to get a hit for maybe 5 yards out to about the 22.
Tackled by Troy Johnson.
One of the secrets to running the wishbone is putting that ball in the fullback's belly and then pulling it out when he sees the end collapse. Greg Thomas does a great job. That's the previous play, not the last play, but the play before. So much is required of that wishbone quarterback. He's got to be watching defensive linemen all night long.
Arkansas averages about 4 yards a rush, substantially a little less than 4. Tonight, Arkansas has had the only offense in this game so far. Quarterback draw, call play, and a 3rd down and 4. It's going to be very close to a first down. It looks, Trump, like the lineman came in with a spot that's going to give it to the Hog. 4 new downs for Arkansas.
First thing you notice on this replay is the guard splits guards and tackles. He fakes to the fullback and then follows him right through the hole. Excellent block by Derek Thomas on Dante Jones, and it's just enough for a first down. So far, it's working for Arkansas.
Greg Thomas makes the offense go. He is the #1 rusher for Arkansas, the quarterback, with 660 yards, and now a super fast wide receiver comes in, Donnie Centers. Number 8 led the Razorbacks in rushing with 660 yards. Looking to throw. He's looking at Centers. Now he dumps it up. Coming out of the backfield is Joe Johnson, who dropped one earlier. Derek White makes the tackle on first down, but Arkansas gets some more yards out to about the 33-yard line. 1:59 to play first quarter.
The initial receiver was Centers. Thomas, watch him look downfield. He's looking for Centers. Centers gets held up, and Thomas does a great job of looking off the primary receiver. Finds Joe Johnson out in the flat, and this time he catches it. They're doing an excellent job here. They pick up 7 yards on that play. Now 2nd and 3. Perfect position for this football team.
Thomas with the handoff. Third back through the very quick running back from Dallas, a junior, Sammy Van Dyke. Takes it straight ahead out to the 37-yard line. Third down and about 1 coming up.
Steve Bryant again on the tackle. Officials timeout. They're going to measure. Now, one thing about Oklahoma, in a lot of years we've seen them play in the Orange Bowl, they can play a bad game. They can be uninspired for a quarter or two.
Well, I asked Bosworth the other night, I said, how do you think the Sooners are looking at this? He said, well, you know, last year we came here playing for a national championship. This year we're not going to win a national championship no matter what they do. I'm not sure how they're going to play it. They're going to play hard, but I'm not sure if that fire is fanned like it was a year ago.
Well, as Ken Hatfield and everyone from Arkansas has said all week long, we have no pressure on us. We have nothing at stake. This is for our reputation as they get another first down.
First downs for Arkansas. Oklahoma, its first 2 possessions, 3 downs and out for the offense and 2 punts.
First quarter time-wise owned by Arkansas. There's 1:42 left. Oklahoma's run 6 plays, Arkansas the rest.
Nobody really close to point yet. Arkansas did try a long field goal from 52 yards out. It was way short. Now Thomas, who's throwing the ball well tonight. He's hit 4 of 6 for 46 yards under the run, and he gets away from it. Shebest is open, but he doesn't see him. James Shebest came back at him, then broke downfield. But under the heat of the pass rush from Oklahoma, Thomas couldn't find him. Dante Williams ran Thomas out of bounds. Shebest was wide open. If he let it go, it would have been 6.
It would have been tough, though. Thomas rolling to his left, the right-handed quarterback, who had to square up and throw it about 35 yards down the field. Thomas, so far tonight, made excellent choices. And that's the first thing you consider when you're looking at a wishbone quarterback. Make the right choices.
Thomas so far has accounted for 67 yards of offense, 46 passing, 21 rushing. Sooners coming hard, and Thomas gets away. On second down and almost 10, he is in across the 45-yard line out to the 46. And again, the Razorbacks have 3rd and short.
Look at the strength this Greg Thomas kid has. Paul Miliazzo, number 42 for the Sooners, was there on the blitz. And he runs right through the tackle of Miliazzo. There's Miliazzo right there, keeps his feet. Very difficult to account for a quarterback when he's scrambling like that. When you run the wishbone, you got a man assigned to him, but on the scramble, he's on his own.
Arkansas doing well on 3rd down attempts. They're 3 for 5 converting. 3rd and a long one, actually. Sooners stopping. No first down this time. As quarterback Greg Thomas of Arkansas turns upfield, but right into senior linebacker Paul Miliazzo. Knocked him down along with Darrell Reed.
Tough choice here for Ken Hatfield.
There's the bars. They're all wearing outfits. Everybody's got bars on their tape tonight, at least on the Oklahoma side.
He's a real leader with that outrageous haircut, some of his outrageous comments. One of the best liked players on a team, and also an academic All-American.
Through 1 quarter of play, Arkansas, while still without points, has done a big job moving the ball on Oklahoma. And now the punt unit comes out on 4th down and 1 as they switch sides. Oklahoma get a fair snap at him. High punt hit downfield, and it's going to be fielded on the fair catch at the 19-yard line. Arkansas had its offense on the field, and at the last moment ran out its punt team. The Sooners had to make a quick change, and then you called Trump for a quick snap. Hogs were hoping they'd get it on 5-yard penalty. The first down didn't work. Sooners go when we come back. The Oklahoma Sooners stunned early in this game. They've not given up any points, but they've not had a first down on offense. And look at the overwhelming dominance of the big underdog Arkansas through the first quarter. And the possession in total yards. Payoff only on final numbers, though, and no points up yet. As Oklahoma goes to the run, the fullback, Earl Johnson, a 205-pound senior, Took it straight ahead and got to about the 23-yard line where Wayne Martin, a rising star defensive end, made the play for Arkansas. Let's go back to Paul.
Thanks. Now we're down in the field with Bobby Joe Edmonds, who is the leading punt returner in the National Football League from Seattle. Bobby, you never played against Oklahoma, but obviously Arkansas, they didn't read any clippings either.
No, look, they don't get caught up in all the hype about Oklahoma. They'll be all right. Playing good defense, and we get some points on the board. We'll be in good shape.
You said to me just a moment ago you thought maybe tonight you might suit up.
Flanking into open field on the pitchback from Janelle Holloway is Spencer Tillman. And Tillman might go the distance. He's going to take it in. And so the Oklahoma offense without a first down until that play detonates. A 77-yard touchdown play on the pitchback from Janelle Holloway to the senior runner, Spencer Tillman. And Oklahoma breaks it open and goes on the board.
I'm sure Ken Hatfield's biggest fear, the electrifying offense of Oklahoma. It's all made possible by Jameel Holloway. The secret to the wishbone quarterback, keep it in your hands as long as you possibly can. Now watch what happens. Otis Lloyd is almost there to make the tackle. Then Atwater and...
The Boomer Sooners just unloaded. Spencer Tillman, the senior running back, taking the pitch back, going 77 yards. And up to that point, there'd been no first downs for Oklahoma. Now it's a 7-0 game Sooners. Another tough-to-handle kickoff that centers field back inside his 5. And Oklahoma knocks him down at the 16-yard line. Back to Paul on the sideline.
Thank you, Don. Bobby Joe, as we were talking, they run 80 yards for a touchdown.
I know. I'm sorry I jinxed my teammates, but they'll come back. As long as they can keep playing some tough defense and get some points on the board.
Thanks, Bobby.
Don, the thing you notice is that the wishbone isolates players. Tillman has one player to beat there. An excellent block by Patrick Collins, 33, and then it's pretty much Tillman all by himself. Look at a big guy, Johnson, out there in front, 40 yards down the field trying to get a block.
Two plays, 81 yards in 46 seconds. Spencer Tillman with the first score of this game. 7-0 Oklahoma with 14 minutes to play in the first half. Arkansas looking at a blitz. They pick up Miliazzo, the linebacker, who is coming up, throwing a strike to Shebest. He's out to the 32-yard line. First down, Hogs.
Greg Thomas showing great presence. He had people all over him. 42 Miliazzo up there, almost at the snap. It's a good block there. And Derek Thomas, but he avoids the rush. I think that's the way Arkansas has got to beat Oklahoma. Keep throwing at the Shebest and centers.
It's working pretty well so far, but right now, Arkansas has got to get back in it as they're going for the big one. Down there is Downey Sanders. He can't make a play on the ball. The fastest Razorbacks covered by Ricky Dixon, and so second down and 10 comes up.
That's the first poor pass that Thomas has thrown. All the rest of them have been right on the money.
Barry Switzer calls Jamel Holloway, as you know, Trump, the best wishbone quarterback he's ever had, and he's had some tremendous ones. J.C. Watts and Danny Bradley. And I think that might have been as fine a play by number 4 as he's made all year. Tackler was on him, pulling him down. He made the pitch back. Bang. Tillman goes the distance, 77 yards, and it's 7-0 Oklahoma. Up back, the fullback Derek Thomas runs it for Arkansas and gets close to the 35-yard line. Miliazzo made the stop. He'll be making a lot tonight with Bosworth out of there, who is the leading tackler for the Sooners, or was.
One thing, too, about Arkansas, they're a very patient offense and a very persistent offense. They come into the game trying to run between the tackles. They will stay with it. Even though Oklahoma will shut them down a lot, they'll keep trying the same spot.
Greg Thomas has thrown well. 5 of 8 for 63 yards. He gets some time, but he runs out of it. It's incomplete, and there's also a penalty marker down in the Oklahoma secondary.
I think this is against Oklahoma. Barry Switzer was incensed. Looked like somebody grabbed a receiver on the far side of the field. What is that? That's one I've missed.
Too many men on the field. Only allowed 11.
I've not seen that signal before.
Referee Paul Schmidt makes the signal against Oklahoma, so that makes it 3rd down and 3 now.
Too many men on the field.
Works in Canada, but not here. The flex ball. Arkansas in white, trailing 7-0. Second quarter. Working hard with the ball as the fullback, Derek Thomas, a 225-pound senior from Paducah, Kentucky. And he gets 4 new downs for the Arkansas offense.
Troy Johnson had them on the tackle. At this point, Arkansas got to be somewhat confused. The numbers are all their way, except on the scoreboard. They give up 1 play on a great performance by Jameel Holloway, and they're down 7.
Jameel Holloway was caught by a defender on his way down. He pitched back, and Spencer Tillman a short time ago ran at 77 yards for Oklahoma's touchdown. On first down, speed up the middle, and Joe Johnson, a high school All-American out of Longview, Texas. And he takes it across midfield of the 49-yard line of the Sooners.
Now you look at this offensive line by the Arkansas Razorbacks. You can see the big split between guard and tackle. And 72, Freddie Childress just caved in the nose tackle. A nice lane there for Joe Johnson to run up. Picks up 5 yards, 2nd and 5.
2nd and a long 5. 11:54 to play in the first half. Thomas sets up. They give him time. He's got an open man. Ball is caught. They'll mark it just short of the first down at the 44-yard line of Oklahoma. Joe Johnson out of the backfield, caught the ball, was immediately drilled by cornerback Derek White of the Sooners. 3rd and short.
The Razorbacks came into this ball game converting 47% of their 3rd downs, and accurate passing like this with receptions. And once again, 3rd and short, and they're 4 of 7 on 3rd down conversions tonight.
Johnny Centers, the fastest Razorback. Back again on the field. He's at the top of your screen. And the run they go, though, straight ahead to Joe Johnson. He has a first down for Arkansas down to the 42-yard line of Oklahoma. And the clock continues to now stop by the official with 11:03 to play in the first half. It's 7-0 Oklahoma. Centers comes back out. Shebest goes back in with the play. Ken Hatfield, the Arkansas coach, spends 98% of his time coaching with the offense.
Watch the way these linebackers step up. They're always attacking the line of scrimmage. That's an excellent block by Sammy Van Dyke, 21. The running back up through there.
Thomas throws. Shebest is hit early. It'll be a first down for Arkansas, the 23-yard line of Oklahoma. Ricky Dixon went up and nailed the catcher before the ball got there.
Thomas again voids the rush, but watch the pattern run by Shebest. It's a zone by Oklahoma. He looks inside, and you can see Ricky Dixon makes contact before the ball gets there. First down, Arkansas. Great protection, number 1. Thomas has time to look down the field. He's kind of locked on to Shebest, but once again, this ball right on the money. I'm impressed. Kid can throw, comes into the game completing almost 62% of his passes. You can see why.
So the penalty, a 15-yarder against Oklahoma, sets the ball to the 27-yard line. Now Arkansas starting to challenge. Razorbacks are down 7-0 after a 77-yard touchdown run by Spencer Tillman of the Sooners. There's some hitting tonight at the Orange Bowl as Oklahoma pops Derek Thomas, knocks him down, back down to Paul.
All right, now, Daddy, Trumpy, you're going to love this. We got a call for you. You guys ready? 1, 2, 3. Back to you. Back to
Those guys sound like some of those guys you hang around with back in Buffalo. Second down and 9. Throw down the middle. It's intercepted by Sonny Brown, who a year ago was the most. And Paul McGuire, this is Don Criqui of the 1987 Orange Bowl. Oklahoma, after the Sonny Brown interception, stops the Arkansas drive. Sooners go to the run, and very quick nose tackle Tony Cherico again sheds the block of center Travis Simpson of the Sooners, makes the stop for a very short game. Oklahoma has had really no offense other than one play, and that went the distance for a 7-0 lead from 77 yards out.
Watch the nose tackle, Tony Cherico, taking the half of the center. This defensive line is always slanting. They never line up man on man with anybody. This is a downsized defensive line.
Again, Arkansas comes hitting and stops the wishbone. Ricky Williams, the #1 tackler for Arkansas from Little Rock, an inside linebacker 57 who they told at Oklahoma you can come if you want to walk on and see if you can make the team. He was a high school teammate of the All-American tight end for the Sooners, Heath Jackson.
Watch Cherico this time. Once again offset, and then there's a slant to the weak side. He gives himself up, but he also tries to take out a blocker. Now watch the hit. He runs around the block and is there to assist on the tackle along with Ricky Williams.
Now two fullbacks and a lot of speed in the Oklahoma backfield. They put Stafford out. Here is Jamel Holloway. Big pressure. He gets away. A magician, but finally he runs out of tricks at the 6-yard line.
Ricky Williams all the way, a loss of 11 yards. This Arkansas defense, there is no man on the defensive line who weighs more than 250. And for the Oklahoma offense, there is no man on the offensive line who weighs less than 275. And yet, the Arkansas defense making great penetration. That's Ricky Williams. Excellent foot speed. And Jamel Holloway avoids him once, but he won't avoid him the second time, and he makes the tackle for an 11-yard loss.
We're already down to just 8 minutes left in the first half. 7-0 Oklahoma. Very high punt. It's a swirling wind here at the Orange Bowl. Shebest, fair catch, signals and runs it back anyway, but that'll be
a penalty.
Yeah.
That's a penalty against Arkansas. That was a haphazard fair catch signal. Watch what he does. Arm goes up. That's a fair catch. And then he starts to run. It looks intentional, and they'll penalize Arkansas.
I think these Hogs, Trump, came in expecting a warm night. They got the cutaway jerseys on. It's brisk in South Florida tonight. A lot of wind.
Not a Chamber of Commerce evening.
But one of the hallmark events in college football being renewed for a 53rd time. The Orange Bowl with 7:51 to play, and Oklahoma has been here more than any other team. They've been here the last 3 years in a row. They've been here 7 of the last 10 years. Of course, a year ago, they won the national championship, beating Penn State 25-10. And tomorrow night, the Nittany Lions go for a national championship against the Miami Hurricanes in the Fiesta Bowl here on NBC Sports. 7:51 to go. It is still Sooners 7, Arkansas 0. Backs of Ken Hatfield have the most offense and a big edge in time of possession, but the Sooners have the only points of the night on Spencer Tillman's 77-yard touchdown run here in the second quarter. It's 7-0 Oklahoma. 7:51 to go in the first half.
On that penalty on Shebest on that delay of game for running after he made the signal for the fair catch, it's going to make it 1st and 15 for Arkansas.
Tell you one thing, we're all coaches with 20/20 hindsight, but I'd throw to that Shebest all night. He can get open. Straight ahead give, and Marshall Foreman with his first carry. An undersized fullback, but very strong, a cousin of the former heavyweight champion George Foreman, is stopped by defensive tackle Richard Reed of Oklahoma. Shebest is the all-time, Trump, receiving record holder at Arkansas. That's pretty good when you consider people like Lance Allworth and Chuck Dykes played there.
The thing Arkansas has to do is throw the ball when it's not so obvious. 2nd down and 13 is pretty obvious here.
Shebest running the deep pattern. Thomas throws it out of the backfield, and Van Dyke puts it in the air, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Dante Jones. The man filling in for Bosworth. And so a second interception on a tip ball And the Sooners take possession once again with a 7-0 lead.
We'll watch Dante Jones go to the football, just being in the right place at the right time. Intended receiver bounces it up into Dante Jones's hand. Second turnover of the night for the Sooners.
George Finkel, our director, John Gonzalez, is right now the Sooners with a 7-0 lead. Have not thrown a pass in this game. Holloway at quarterback. This is the play that went the distance. The trailer's Tillman, but this time with a full 360. The quarterback, Jamel Holloway, keeps the ball and gets ahead for about 3. He was upended by cornerback Charles Washington.
One thing you got to admire about these wishbone quarterbacks, they take some abuse, and they put it on themselves. Now, Holloway could pitch this ball, but instead he's going to try to make yardage. He's the leading rusher for the Sooners, and Washington goes right through his knees. That's a head-first landing and a 2-yard pickup.
Can't get it intercepted if you don't throw it, and Oklahoma hasn't put a pass up yet. Now they try the run. Earl Johnson, the fullback, with that 7.5 yard per carry average, takes it ahead on a 2nd and 8 play. Only about 3 or 4. Ricky Williams, the inside backer, again on the stop for Arkansas. Later in tonight's game, we will be selecting the outstanding player for each team. Budweiser will donate a total of $2,000 to the school's General Scholarship Fund. Budweiser MVP here at the Orange Bowl is with 6:05 to play first half. Sooners have the ball in a 7-0 lead with 3rd and 5 up. First throw. Now Holloway gets it to the All-American Keith Jackson, who caught only 14 balls in the regular season, but averaged 29 yards a catch. It's good for 11 in a first down.
15th catch, 5 touchdowns. Here's the free safety Atwater. Suddenly he realizes, uh-oh, I got Jackson. He was up there for the pitch. He had to go over and help out. Richard Brothers finally on the tackle. First down pickup, Oklahoma.
The Sooners with a 10-1 mark. Go to the run, straight ahead of Spencer.
Fumble.
There's a free ball. Let's see if turnover goes Arkansas's way.
And I got to tell you, I thought I heard a whistle before the ball came loose. Eric Whitted, it looked like, recovered it, along with, he knocked it away, along with Otis Lloyd, but I think I heard a whistle. Oklahoma maintains possession. Watch again as he goes through the line of scrimmage. Great job by Carl Bradford caving down in there. Can't see the ball loose. Lots of bodies around there. I think the whistle had already blown. Forward progress stopped.
Second, long 7. First back through is the fullback, and again he's shut down by the Arkansas defense. Earl Johnson carries down to the 31-yard line. Johnson's a comeback story. Was out for a long time with an injury. He had the best rushing game this year for Oklahoma. Ran for 205 yards against Kansas.
Well, they move him back to fullback. And in the last 5 games of the season, regular season for Oklahoma, he averaged 9.3 yards a carry.
An array of great runners in the Oklahoma backfield. They have a 6-pack of runners. They use 6 backs, and any one of them can go the distance, as Spencer Tillman did earlier from 77 yards out for the only score of this game. Johnson again, as Switzer stays with conservative football, using the great blocking of his huge offensive line. You ain't got size, you ain't got nothing in Switzer's book for offensive linemen.
And here's the mismatch. 3rd down and short. When the Oklahoma offensive line goes straight ahead, it really puts the Arkansas defensive line at a huge disadvantage.
Tillman, quick hitter. Spencer Tillman, a senior from Tulsa, 210-pounder, gets down close to the 23-yard line, where Carl Bradford made the stop for Arkansas along with Ricky Williams. A year ago, Jamel Holloway, as a freshman, quarterbacked Oklahoma to a national championship. Sooners not putting it up. The one throw to Keith Jackson, as Barry Switzer says, we do our throwing in the pregame warm-ups. Johnson again on second down and long 7. Arkansas, Trump, showing a lot of splits in their defensive front. They give that offensive line of Oklahoma's a lot to shoot at.
Always moving. You never really get a solid hit on any of those defensive linemen from Arkansas. That's by design. Once again, there's no defensive lineman playing out there over 250 pounds. There's no Oklahoma offensive lineman under 275. They got to trick them. Run slants, run tricks, run games, try to get in the gap.
Third down and 5. Pitch back Tillman. He's going in. Spencer Tillman with his second touchdown of the game on the pitch back from Holloway from 21 yards out.
Great block by Patrick Collins out in front of him. Again, Holloway, right on the verge of disaster, is able to make the pitch. Not bad numbers.
Including in the rushing yardage for Spencer Tillman, a 77-yard touchdown run on that same pitchback play. And now a 21-yard run, and Oklahoma all of a sudden trouble on offense throughout the first quarter and a half, breaks the game open and goes in front of the extra point 14-0 with 2:53 to play in the first half. 9 plays, 54 yards.
When you face the wishbone, what they try to do is isolate players. Now you can see there's one guy out here to try to make the tackle on Tillman. He gets blocked by the offensive line, and Tillman just skates in for his second score. They're not getting consistent yardage, but the one thing, Don, you can't coach is speed. The one thing that Oklahoma possesses in just sheer abundance is foot speed. Tillman has shown it twice already in his first half.
2 things you can't coach, speed and luck. They've gotten the turnovers, and Donnie Centers runs it back across the 15 to the 17-yard line for Arkansas. There's Tillman.
He scored twice on the same play from behind the defense. You see the hesitation by Jamil Holloway. That gets the offensive big guys out in front. There's Hudson, 79. Keith Jackson with a block. And Tillman untouched into the end zone. 107 yards rushing. And the last 2 times, as you said, that Arkansas has run a play, both have been interceptions.
Arkansas is warming up its long-range bomber, Jay Cleveland, a passer who can throw it the length of the field about it. Whether or not anybody's on the other end of it, as you see, that's Jay Cleveland, and they were warming up in one of the practice sessions the other day, Trump, with a long-range offense to Centers, who's their flyer.
Well, they have to do something to get back in the football game. They've dominated time of possession in this first half, but just given up 2 big plays by Oklahoma. And that's what Oklahoma does to you. That foot speed it shocks you as a defensive player out there.
The Orange Bowl with its usual unbelievable halftime spectacular coming out. We're 2 minutes and 9 seconds from halftime. Out goes to Van Dyke. Sammy Van Dyke working hard to get out to the 28-yard line. Looks like he has a first down.
Paul Miliazzo makes the tackle. You can see that Oklahoma is doing an excellent job of covering the deep receivers. Thomas going to the outlets. The running backs on the sideline.
The magic of halftime is the theme this year here at the Orange Bowl. Miami, a city of lights on New Year's Day night. The 53rd Orange Bowl Classic. Right now, Arkansas, the team that started out so strong, is troubled, down 14-0 to the heavily favored Sooners. Thomas runs out of time. Bucks some with a pump fake. Then it's gone, and Troy Johnson gets him. He's played a tremendous game. They list him as a defensive end, but really the outside ends, they really are outside linebackers for Oklahoma. They stand up.
Arkansas only had 2 receivers out, and Dante Jones kind of covering in the middle when Greg Thomas looks like he's going to scramble Dante Jones there to make the tackle, along with Troy Johnson. Now this is trouble. 2nd down and 12. Centers in the ball game now for Arkansas. Top side of the field.
Second and long. Thomas stands in, lets her rip. Too much on it for Joe Johnson out of the backfield, and so it brings up 3rd down and long.
The Razorbacks continue to just run 2 receivers out in the pattern. Centers was the only other receiver on the far side of the field. He ran a pattern deep. And Joe Johnson ran the pattern short. Greg Thomas has only got 2 choices. You need more people in the pattern than that. Now Centers comes out. Shebest comes back in.
Arkansas's only 2 losses this season were to Texas Tech in the 5th game, 17-7. And the Razorbacks were also beaten by Baylor 29-14 in the 9th game. They finished with a 9-2 record at Arkansas. Swing pass. It goes out to the fullback, Derek Thomas, and he's out close to the 39-yard line. And now they're going to start him across the 40 for a first down. 15-yard gain, but time a major factor now. As you see, it's down to 51 seconds to play in the half.
Again, the running backs open. The wide receivers being well covered.
45 seconds to go on the half, and the clock ticking on down. 14-0 Oklahoma. 2 pitchback runs. Spencer Tillman on the payoff end both times from 77 and 21 yards out. Out pattern, drop ball by Thomas, the fullback. Hit to the head, could be a personal foul call against Oklahoma.
Late hit.
The other night, all the Sooners, and there are 100 of them here, and all the Razorbacks, there are 120 of them, went on a cruise. Arkansas guys said you could tell our players are the ones without the earrings. A lot of Sooners wearing that Bosworth earring.
Sonny Brown. This is going to go against Arkansas, I believe. They never seem to get the guy who does it first. They get it on Derek Thomas, who tried to retaliate. And it's a big one. Unsportsmanlike conduct. 15 yards against Arkansas.
Second down.
Second down and 25 now for Arkansas. And they've only been able to throw the ball to the running backs as outlet receivers. This is jail.
Greg Thomas, second and long yardage, lofts it down to Shebest, who can't hold it at the midfield stripe. So it'd be 3rd down and about 25.
This is not an offense that can survive when you've got 2nd and 3rd down and 25. See, Shebest runs a good pattern. Centers kind of drags coverage away. He's open, but Thomas just overthrows him ever so slightly.
So now another flyer comes in to play the flank. A freshman from Conway, Arkansas, Tim Horton, is in. He's going out to the top of your screen. Centers is coming up the right flank. Thomas looking for the sideline, but he's not going to get there as the game clock is down to 19 seconds to play and running. Now we get the timeout.
Dante Jones on the tackle. He's done an excellent job. Back in coverage, making interceptions, and there to make the tackle.
FC divisional game at Cleveland. Now the punt downfield by Arkansas. No Sooner was back. They just let it hit downfield, as that will do it for the first half. Ball is down at the 15-yard line with 4 seconds to play. Oklahoma 14, Arkansas nothing. A 68-yard punt. Run started the scoring, and up to that point, midway through the 2nd quarter, Oklahoma had not even had a first down. That'll do it for the first 15 minutes. Coach Barry Switzer heads to the locker room. With the Sooners, the game in hand at the moment, a 14-0 lead over Arkansas. But pretty soon they're going to have to go to a passing game. Right now they're going to run back the 3rd quarter kickoff. Taking up ahead is Marshall Foreman, and he's close to the 35-yard line. 11 games this season. Thomas takes a big league pop. Coming down to stick him in very hard for Oklahoma was Dylan. The Texans wearing Sooner crimson is right now. The rush is on, and down goes Greg Thomas. Richard Reed gets him. 4 linebackers in there from out of state. 3 from Texas, 1 from Kansas City. Here's a free ball. It's going to be ruled a sack back at the 13. Now the ball hit downfield, and Patrick Collins is back deep for Oklahoma, along with Derek White. It carries short. Greg Horn, a 47-yard punter on the average. Yanked one a bit, and the Sooners will take over in very good field position, just a 26-yard punt. And here comes Jamel Holloway, won 84% wins in his 14 years at Oklahoma. Now has his offense on the field again with a 14-0 third quarter lead as they go to the run and get the ball down.
Position to start a drive tonight.
Super fast player now in the Oklahoma backfield, Anthony Stafford, as Jamel Holloway puts it up long. He's got Derek Shepard open, and Shepard takes it inside the 10 and down to try to bang it out in now with their power offense. Johnson, the fullback, gets to the 4-yard line. Shotgun pellets went through his front window and handoff goes down to the 2 yards. That's right, the last Sooner appearance of the Orange Bowl wasn't the national championship game of the Orange Bowl a year ago. It was the loss to Miami on September 29th, and now the Sooners go in again. Jamel Holloway keeps it and takes it in. Goldsmith, defensive coordinator for Arkansas, saw something he didn't like, and 6 more goes on the board for the Sooners with 10:41 down, set up by his beautiful faking with the ball. Drawing the tackler to him, and now Lasher hits the point after, and with 10:41 to go in the third quarter, the Sooners go on the board with another score and a 21-0 lead.
You can see the missed tackle. They almost get it done, but Holloway with great strength into the end.
The Oklahoma kickoff downfield. Marshall Foreman takes it at the 2. Out to the 21-yard line, a 19-yard return, and Arkansas comes out now, and we'll see whether they have it or not. And that's why Holloway told us he put on 20 pounds weightlifting in the offseason. He said he lost a step maybe, but he's going to survive longer, as Derek Thomas on a first down hit up the middle takes it out to the 26-yard line. Gain of 5 on the play, maybe 6. David Vickers, the All-American safety, on the stop.
Excuse me, Don, we mentioned that Ken Hatfield will stay with what he thinks is going to work, and they lead people up through the line of scrimmage. An excellent block up front by David Smart. Fullback follows him through there. They're staying with it. They get 6 yards on that one.
Thomas takes it at Oklahoma now. The Sooners are a team that has allowed on the average only 1 point. And now John Bland comes in unwarmed up. Does get the handoff off, but it gains nothing. Derek Thomas stuffed on a first down carry at the Arkansas centers. Comes out now, the fastest Arkansas player on the right flank at the top of your screen. John Bland's got some moves as he turns out to the 35-yard line, but gains, believe it or not, redshirt players coming in next year, and a number of them are linebackers. Ball tipped away. Nicely done by Sonny Brown as they were going to Shebest, and Brown dove and knocked it down. With 8:15 to play in the third quarter, it remains Oklahoma 20. Hall of Fame material. Boz flexing his muscles, as are the Sooners. In his wisdom, Brian Bosworth, the suspended linebacker, had this T-shirt made up apparently. He's just put on display.
We'll try to catch what it says.
We'll show it to you. Something about the National Communists Against Athletes.
It's not Happy New Year.
Leon Perry carries for the Sooners. National Communists Against Athletes, welcome to Russia. That's the opinion of Brian Bosworth. This guy's got a lot of sizzle, but I'll tell you one thing, you don't get a lot of endorsements when you turn pro wearing those.
Sometimes you can take it too far, too.
Jim McMahon is his mentor. Both great players. You question their wisdom on the sideline at times. Handoff, and it goes to Lydell Carr, and off goes the big fullback from Enid, Oklahoma, heading for the end zone. Does not get in. He's down to the 4-yard line. Richard Brothers saved it for the moment. 60 yards as the life is out of the Arkansas Razor. But nothing, and looking for more with 7 minutes and 5 seconds to go in the third quarter. Holloway calls number 4, and Jamel has his second 6 of the night.
They've worn him down. The Razorbacks were fired up in the first quarter and a half. And the superior talent won of Oklahoma. This is superior strength and speed. Now all of a sudden it looks like Arkansas, unfortunately, doesn't belong in the same field. And that's too bad, because Arkansas is a heck of a football team. They got to be a team that you put in the top 10 for 1987.
They've got virtually everybody back. Arkansas, now the extra point drilled up and through again by Lasher. So Jamel Holloway, the sophomore quarterback from Los Angeles and Carson, California, with his great quickness, turns up and in, and nobody lays a glove on him, and it's 28-0 Sooner. Tomorrow night is the night. Miami and Penn State for the national championship at the Fiesta Bowl here on NBC Sports, airtime at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Kickoff by Oklahoma. It's into the end zone, and Marshall Foreman downs the ball, and Arkansas tries again from its 20. Razorbacks' only real attempted points tonight, a 52-yard field goal that fell short.
That's Jamel Holloway's father. Jamel has scored 2 touchdowns. He's got the whole crew here.
Holloway is an undersized to play pro football. He's about, they list him at 5'10", but I think he's more like 5'9". But he is smart. He is quick. He's going to play something for somebody somewhere.
Look at those yards rushing. 4 touchdowns, all rushing, just 2 pass attempts, 2 completions. This is the way Oklahoma's played in 1986. Shut out their opponents and ran right over them.
Thomas back in. Nicely done by Sammy Van Dyke. A spinning catch out across the 25-yard line on first down. He's ahead with the #1 ranked defense in America in every category. Overall defense, against the run, against the pass, against scoring. Running with the ball for a first down is Greg Thomas. He gets it out to the 30.
That just kills your confidence, kills your emotion in the game.
End around to Theo Young, but the Sooners don't fight. Keep people at home and make the knockdown at the 35-yard line.
Pleasantly surprised at their 9-2 record and second-place finish in the Southwest Conference.
Out pattern to Johnson out of the backfield. He's out of bounds at about the... Sooners brought 100 players to the Orange Bowl. A lot of guys will be winning their letter tonight.
Look at that. Eating them alive.
Donnie Jones, I tell you, he's everything Bosworth has been, making play after downfield punt. Free ball. Sooners are on it, though. Eric Mitchell, a quarterback, was back to return the kick. And there is a penalty marker down in the field also. Oklahoma did recover. Coming down to recover the ball was Derek White. Bubba Barrow came down and made the hit. You all know Bubba.
I don't think Arkansas allowed the Oklahoma receiver enough room to catch the punt.
Oklahoma with the ball in the third quarter and a 28-0 lead. In around, here comes All-American Keith Jackson. Taking on tacklers, and he's ahead for a gain of almost... Jamel Holloway caught that time. A nice defensive play by freshman linebacker Albert. Holloway looking at Jackson. Too much on it.
Marcus Dupree. Aikman was the quarterback. He thought he was going to get the ball a lot. They're going to throw it to him a bunch. He's ended up having 14 receptions this season. He's still not happy about it.
Big rush by Arkansas and a very big punt by Todd Thompson of Oklahoma. It's going to hop in and come out to the 20. 60-yard 20 in. 2:28 to go, third quarter. Boz isn't the only one with the unusual haircut.
That's a heck of a legacy, though, to leave at Oklahoma. That kind of a haircut.
NFL playoff football this weekend on NBC Sports. Hit ball, almost a pickoff by Ricky Dickin down in 10. Greg Thomas has a difficult assignment against the nation's #1 defense, and here comes the rush, and down goes Thomas at the 8-yard line, the 4th sack of the night. At the Orange Bowl luncheon earlier this week,
At his best.
tremendous player. Sheebess diving at the 23-yard line. Can't get to the ball. It'll be second down and our 4th down and 22 after that sack way back at the 9-yard line.
Barry Switzer now to the point where you got to call off the dogs.
Miami Aggies #1, Penn State #2, but I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody that would favor any team other than maybe the Giants over Oklahoma at this point in the season.
Fumble.
Free ball, and it looks like Arkansas has it. Bubba Barrow, that freshman who made the play earlier, comes up with a foot. Open man. Donnie Centers, he's a flyer. But the open field play is made by David Vick.
Big face in this football game. They need to get the ball in the end zone. Make them feel good about themselves for next year.
Thomas dumps it off. Out of the backfield is Van Dyke. Not much there, but he does get Ellis after 1 quarter. Sooners broke it with a 77-yard Spencer Tillman run in the first minute of quarter #2, and they've been rolling ever since. Joe Johnson out of the backfield is down close to the 35-yard. Big 8 having a big day. Nebraska an easy victor today at the Sugar Bowl, beating LSU 30-15.
Look at these numbers for Oklahoma. 5 shutouts. If they shut out Arkansas, 6 shutouts in 12 games. Point totals there, 466 for Oklahoma. Just 73 against Oklahoma.
1st and 10, Arkansas. Picked off. This could go the distance. One man has a shot at him, and he gets him. Derek White picked it off, and the fleet back Aaron Jackson ran him down. The 3rd interception of Greg Thomas tonight. He'd thrown only 1 interception in 11 previous games, and that was just before halftime when he put the ball up long.
Now, and part of this is from the pressure. He can see it coming. It's Reed that's right in his face, Darrell Reed. He hurries to throw a little bit, and finally the defensive backs of the Oklahoma Sooners, they realize that they're throwing out in the flat to Joe Johnson, number 19. And the 3rd turnover of the night for Oklahoma. Eric Mitchell in at quarterback for Oklahoma. This guy's as good as Jameel Holloway.
And ironically, he's from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Eric Mitchell's a sensational player and also a sophomore. Hand off straight ahead. Leon Terry takes it right at Arkansas and gets inside the 30. Eric Mitchell, a 6'1", 195-pound sophomore, scored 7 touchdowns this season. Averaged over 6 yards a rush. Did not set any records throwing the ball. He completed only 29% of his passes, but he only threw it 21 times.
This Oklahoma team, a team of interchangeable parts. There isn't a lot of drop-off when you put Eric Mitchell in there. He just has less experience than Jameel Holloway.
Leon Terry again. Sooners might be going off tackle the rest of the game.
Now, I notice they have backup center Bob Latham in it. The offensive line. Michael Shepard makes the tackle. There's Jameel Holloway with ice on his knee. He looks all right.
Barry Switzer said his players sometimes ask him why they have to practice these various wishbone plays 1,000 times, because he says 999 times isn't enough. Everything has to be just right. Swish, swap, movement on offense as they go straight ahead down to the 20-yard line. Lydell Carr makes it straight ahead.
Eventually, the weight, the speed of this football team just wears their opponents down.
Oklahoma coaches saying at halftime, the 4th quarter, they think the overmatch in size. Our offense against their defensive line is going to take a big toll on Arkansas. And right now, Anthony Stafford from St. Louis, who averaged 7.6 yards a run this year for Oklahoma, runs it ahead. Boz is hanging tough on the sideline with Paul McGuire. Be going down to them in a moment, as right now we have 12:30 to play in the game, and it's still 28-0 Oklahoma.
And I notice that Tony Chirico is still in there at nose tackle for Arkansas.
Ricky Williams comes up and sticks Leon Terry. But now let's go back down to the sideline. Paul?
Thank you, John. Plus, we've talked about so many things tonight, but the one thing we failed to ask you is your gut feeling tonight. All of a sudden, now you have to sit here and watch this.
Yeah, I do. It's kind of frustrating, but it's very satisfying to know that, regardless of whether I'm out there, our defense is solid. We're doing a hell of a job out there right now. We're going to maintain this shutout. We're going to take it home.
spoken words of the Boz. Third down, about 4. Mitchell takes it. Look out. They catch him, and he gets down close to the 12-yard line, very close to a first down. Bosworth projects a public image that some would question. I'll tell you this, to be around him, he is a very pleasant, gentlemanly young man. He's got time for everybody, particularly kids.
Yeah, but Don, I got to tell you, that T-shirt, you can carry something too far, and he went over the edge with that T-shirt.
It wasn't a wise move, but right now, the Oklahoma Sooners, without the Boz, are rolling over Arkansas, a team they've not played since 1978 in the Orange Bowl, when Oklahoma was upset and lost the national championship. Mitchell on 4th down loses his footing going back. Reggie Hall was quickly on him, and so Arkansas takes over the ball.
Razorbacks have had very little to cheer tonight. Very little to cheer about tonight. Sure, it's very discouraging for all of these players.
7 Orange Bowl. Arkansas, one of 6 opponents shut out this season, at least so far, by the Oklahoma #1 ranked defense. And again, time runs out for the quarterback of the Razorbacks, Greg Thomas, as Darrell Reed is on him, a 5th sack of this game.
Tony Cherico on the sideline. In 2 days, will have surgery on that shoulder. He played almost the entire football game. Guy I admire a great deal. Did not practice for 3/4 of the season because of the injury. Couldn't lift weights.
Tony's the guy that has a pet boa constrictor. That ain't nothing but a big worm. Sonny Brown intercepts another pickoff for the Sooners.
That's the 4th of the night. When you're forced to throw, remember that Arkansas coming into this ball game, 82% of their yards were gained by rushing. Trailing 28-0, forced to throw. See Steve Bryant, 86, once again with great pressure. Ball is tipped again. Sonny Brown with the interception.
10-12 to go in the Orange Bowl. It is 28-0 Oklahoma. Sooners go to the run, and fullback Earl Johnson takes it close to the 26-yard line of Arkansas.
Offensive line of the Sooners has been changed dramatically. Morita in at guard. Richard Marks in at tackle. But look, and there's still some frustration out there. That by Ricky Williams on Eric Mitchell, the quarterback.
Mitchell takes a look. Free ball, and it looks like, well, let's have to wait and see. It's Arkansas's football at the 16-yard line. High power, high risk, Switzer calls his offense, and the Sooners certainly have not risked much tonight, keeping possession while Arkansas has been plagued by turnovers.
As a brakeman on a bobsled for the U.S. Olympic winter team. Wants to extend his athletic career.
Sack number 6 now for the Oklahoma defense. As Richard Dillon was the man who broke through and got credit. Oklahoma with 9 starters back on offense next year. I think 8 come back on defense, and a lot of redshirt players that weren't in action this year will be on the playing fields at Norman next season.
We got the backups in here all over the place. Bland comes out. He was going to run the quarterback draw.
Now a senior from El Paso, Texas, with a long-range arm. Jay Cleveland is in, dropping to throw, but he's not going to get time. Is it a sack? Now they're going to rule him down inside about the 1-yard line.
That's 7 sacks tonight.
Sack, but not a safety.
Troy Johnson. I don't think Ken Hatfield felt that the defensive line could overrun his offensive line as much as Oklahoma's managed tonight. When Greg Thomas has had time, of course he's not in there now. He's not done a bad job throwing, but look at this. Troy Johnson from the outside. Quarterback had no chance whatsoever.
He's out of there in one play. They just put him in when they could try to throw long, but now they don't have room to do that. They have John Bland in to try to get some operating room to punt. Razorbacks fighting hard. Fullback Marshall Marshall Foreman trying to get a little room, gets it out to the 5, where 4th down comes up. 4th and about 18, and so the Arkansas Razorbacks have to punt from their end zone.
Or do they? I don't see Greg Horn coming on. Yes, he's finally coming on the field.
Greg Horn with a 37.6 average tonight, averaged over 47 for the season, though. Best in the nation. Downfield. It's low, though. It'll come back at Arkansas. Derek Shepard runs it back to the 45-yard line of the Razorbacks, and there's also a penalty marker down. Look at Clip.
50-yard punt, 10-yard return. And in their second half, Oklahoma's had unbelievable field position, haven't they? With the turnovers, they started at Arkansas's 36, and then they're 29, and now minus the penalty, it's going to be at about the 35-yard line.
Over the last 4 years, the Oklahoma Sooners have compiled the best record in American college football. They have only 4 losses in the last 4 years, including a national championship season when they were undefeated a year ago. And they're going to be going for the whole thing again next season. Mitchell on the near side sweep. Buying time. Eric Mitchell heading towards the end zone. Finally, they catch him. Atwater loses him for the moment, but does get him out of bounds.
I said a moment ago, Oklahoma draft speed. I mean, they recruit speed and sheer athletic ability. A 37-yard pickup on a totally busted play. And that guy can't start for Oklahoma. The thing I like, watch his fake like he's going to throw it. Gets the guy up in the air, by him.
Tough night for Arkansas, a rising young team, 28-0 Oklahoma, but actually the Razorbacks are getting off light compared to some clubs that went against the Sooners this year. Up to the people of Missouri and Kansas. Sooners beat Kansas 64-3, and then the next week they beat Missouri 77-0.
Wow. Look at the disparity in rushing yardage. Happened in a lot of football games. That Missouri game, Oklahoma scored on 8 straight drives.
Sooners opened the season beating UCLA 38-3. Boz not enduring himself with Bruins fans when he summed up UCLA as a legitimate doormat. It turned out to be a pretty darn good team. Not that day, though. Pitch back. They live dangerously, but they make it work as Anthony Stafford is down to the goal line, and he's in. It goes to 34-0 Sooners. 13 yards and an Oklahoma touchdown.
Down on the pitch tonight, 3 touchdowns have been scored, and all 3 of those touchdowns, the quarterback pitches at the last possible moment. Holloway does it twice, and Mitchell does it. A perfect pitch to Stafford, who has nuclear-powered speed. He goes through Atwater.
And so with 6 minutes left to go, the extra point by Lasher is on the way. Good again. It's 35-0. In 3 plays, 59 yards, and the Sooners are back in the end zone.
Watch this again. He's in the grasp there, but he's still able to get the pitch off. And this is great running by Stafford. Shoulder down, the final 5 yards, people hanging.
Marshall Foreman. Down to the 22-yard line. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, Miami of Florida, #1 in America, and Penn State #2. Both tee it up for the national championship game at the Fiesta Bowl. Who do you like in that one from?
No shutouts, that's for sure. I'll take Miami. I don't think Penn State has faced a passing team like Miami is. That is as sophisticated as you'll find in the NFL.
I'll take Penn State.
For a hot fudge Sunday, you're on, son.
Rollout. John Bland throws a strike to Shebest, and he is across the 40, has a first down for Arkansas.
18-yard pickup. It's been a while since Shebest had the ball. Oklahoma's done a great job of shutting him down. Pretty much is the frustration of Arkansas this evening. Came into this ball game with one of the best takeaway figures you can find in.
Shebest might go in. Can't get to the ball. Aaron Jackson in the backfield now for Arkansas. Bland, nothing. Another long, low punt.
Keith Jackson is back there. There's going to be a penalty here on Oklahoma. Arkansas going with that quick kick. They caught him with 12 men on the field. Horn gets off a 57-yarder.
Glenn Sullivan now in the game at quarterback for Oklahoma. To the 7-yard line on a first down carry. The gain is good for about. When Sullivan almost breaks one, he gets out to the 19-yard line, gets a first down for Oklahoma. Kerry Owens knocked him down.
Time for everybody to get in the ball game, show what they can, show the head coach.
Game turned on one play. Talking to Barry Switzer is Donnie Duncan, the new athletic director at Oklahoma. Replaced the retired Wade Walker, spent 15 fine years as AD at Soonerland. Now with 3:16 to go, the whistle stops play.
Just absolutely warmed down.
Long ball by Glenn Sullivan in position to intercept as a Razorback, but he has it knocked away from him. When his team is selected for the Orange Bowl. Hit downfield, end over end spinning kick. It's picked up on the one hop by Shebest, and he's out to midfield, and Arkansas will try one more time. 1:54 to play and the clock stopped.
Long night for Arkansas.
Tackle on the punt.
Long trip back to Arkansas.
They'll be back. Ken Hetfield and the Razorbacks with virtually everyone returning next season. They came into this game ranked 9th in the country with a 9-2 record. Oklahoma came in rated number 3.
Arkansas returns 10 lettermen, 10 starters on offense, 10 starters on defense, 7 starters on offense. So Ken Hetfield certainly has a tremendous nucleus to build his football team even better.
Oklahoma does it again. Yet another interception. Evan Gatewood, a senior linebacker, comes up with the ball, and the Sooners have it back.
He's in law school. Spent his last year playing football for Oklahoma.
We'd like to thank the sports information director of Oklahoma, Mike Treps, and from his staff, Pat Hanlon, who's also been our Oklahoma spotter, Debbie Kopp and Larry McAllister. And for the Arkansas Razorbacks, their sports information director, Rick Schaefer, and Rodney Stagg. Hog up here doing some spotting. Hogs will be back in 87. Right now, Oklahoma has the ball, running the clock down to 1:41 to play. Athletic director at Arkansas, of course, is Frank Broyles, who was their outstanding coach for 19 seasons. The national championship team of 1964, a product of the Frank Broyles era. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Michael Weissman. Coordinating producer of NBC Football is Ted Nathanson. The telecast of tonight's game has been produced by George Finkel, directed by John Gonzalez, technical director Lenny Stucker, replay producer Glenn Adamo. As So Oklahoma looks for a little bit more. Derek Shepard makes the catch. Now they rule he was out of bounds with 1:32 to play.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that Barry Switzer is calling these pass plays. Switzer from Arkansas. And you mentioned that Barry Switzer had a lot to do with Ken Hanfield's coaching career. They're still putting the ball up.
The Budweiser outstanding players for tonight's Orange Bowl are number 64, Tony Cherico from Arkansas, and number 50, Dante Jones from Oklahoma. Budweiser will donate a total of $2,000 to the general scholarship funds of Arkansas and Oklahoma. Back up tight end. The ball now. He's going to take it all the way. Duncan Parham heads for the end zone, and he's in. 49 yards and a touchdown. As the Sooners en route to their 6th shutout of this season. They blasted Minnesota with their first shutout in the second game, 63-0.
Well, they are pouring it on. And they just poured water all over Barry Switzer like the Giants do to Bill Parcells.
Yeah, a lot of coaches are going to be getting wet over that.
Watch what happens.
Parcells knows it's coming. He didn't know it.
Unsuspecting Barry Switzer. That's a bad tradition. You know that?
It's a bad tradition. And high school kids going to be doing that next season.
42-0.
And I tell you, there's going to be some coaches around Trump. To our NBC statistician Ross Schneiderman totaling the numbers, and Oklahoma now up to 361 yards rushing, close to their per-season, per-game average. Over 400. Now Arkansas breaks one. Marshall Foreman gets out to the 35-yard line. All the people who make the Orange Bowl a hallmark event in college football. 3 of the previous 4 years, this game has decided the national championship.
361 to 44 rushing yardage for the two teams. The score is pretty indicative of who got 361 and who got 44. Interception.
Picked off once again. There is a to an end. Arkansas still pitching and trying to get on the board. They get it to Donnie Centers. He gets only twice this season in 12 games has Oklahoma not been in a mismatch. Shebets out of bounds at the 5. Down close to the goal line, but not in as the game clock. Arkansas looking to get on the board. One time over the middle and in for a touchdown is fullback Derek Thomas. John Bland, the quarterback, drops. Here come the Sooners. There's the throw and a catch. It's good for 2 to shot. Outman tonight. The Oklahoma's ball.
No one controlled it. It went 10 yards. Touched last by an Oklahoma. I think Arkansas will agree with those computer polls.
Those are computer polls, but the number 1 and 2 teams in the AP and UPI, the writers and coaches polls, are, of course, Miami of Florida and Penn State, both undefeated. And tomorrow night they square off in a national championship game at the Fiesta Bowl in Tempe. Airtime on NBC Sports is 8 o'clock Eastern Time. That'll do it for the 1987 Orange Bowl as Oklahoma rolls 42-8 over Arkansas. For Bob Crumpy and Paul McGuire, this is Don Crickey. The best of Carson and David Letterman coming up on NBC Sports as Oklahoma puts the numbers up in the 53rd Orange Bowl. Another impressive Sooner victory, 42-8. Avenging the loss to Arkansas in the last meetings between these two teams in the 1978 Orange Bowl, when Arkansas, a 20-point underdog, came in and denied Oklahoma a national championship by routing the Sooners in the biggest upset in Orange Bowl history, 31-6. Trump?
And I got to tell you, with the way Oklahoma ran the ball tonight, that's as dominating a football team as I've seen in a long time.
And the word is the Sooners are going to be better next year. That's possible. They did lose 1 game this year, have lost only 4 in the last 4 years. 42-8. Oklahoma the winner. And Coach Barry Switzer has a juggernaut that's going to be tough to beat. Now stay tuned. Following local news for the Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson and Late Night with David Letterman, except on the West Coast and most Mountain Time Zone stations, where they'll be seen at their regular time. Glad you can be with us at the Orange Bowl.
A promotional fee has been paid to NBC.